The High Priestess lay dead on the stone floor. A blade stood from her back as your group crept into the ceremonial chamber, deep within the caverns of the Thunder Cliffs. At the center of the chamber, a small pool of bubbling liquid began to glow while the rhythmic crash of the waves outside crowded your senses. Weapons drawn, each of you watched as a thin pedestal inched up from the surface of the pool. The soul stone dangling from Kairi's neck lifted and tugged against the silk thread holding it around her neck. In each of your minds, Sister Gariel's words echoed.
Save me, like I saved you.
Kairi's looked at each of you before nodding to herself. It was time. Snapping the string, she loosed the small floating stone. Immediately, it flew across the room like a dart, colliding with the pedestal. The impact was so sudden and violent that the stone shattered when it hit. The explosion sent pieces flying about the room. Each of you stumbled back as a shard of the broken soul stone struck you in the chest. Searing energy flowed from your wounds and began to consume you. The room darkened and began to spin. At the edges of your awareness, an evil cackling rose from some unseen place, sending chills down your spines.
You have released me from Pandemonium, and for that I thank you. But now I must bid you farewell. Be gone, and suffer the hells of Pandemonium you left me to.
The voice was, unmistakably, Sister Gariel's. As these words echoed in your minds, a terrible spinning black void tore open in front of the pedestal. Unable to prevent yourselves from being sucked into the grasping breach, the last thoughts were centered on this final betrayal. As your consciousnesses were reassembled and you became more aware of yourselves once more, each of you found yourselves tumbling at a fantastic speed through a trans-dimensional tunnel between space and time. Around you, a cascade of bright, psychedelic patterns sped past. There was no sense of gravity here, only the deafening sound of billowing winds beating against you, and the knowledge that you were powerless to stop this voyage. After a time, the sneaking suspicion of another entity, one beyond the five of you, became unmistakable. A huge serpentine shadow flickered in and out through the peripheries of your vision. A bone-chilling growl could be heard faintly over the cacophony of the raging tempest that propelled you through the wormhole. Slowly, it became impossible to deny the existence of this dark passenger traveling the corridor of chaos with you. The shadow, growing more bold, swept past your group. Gigantic leather-skinned wings fanned a thick wind of rot over you. Along with being powerless to escape the pull of the rushing corridor you were being thrust into, you are now in the midst of a stalker of the morsels found floating through the place between places. You were now in its feeding grounds. The eyes, two glowing coals, shone through the strobing patterns of the tunnel as the beast turned to face you. These were to be your final moments. The place of your death, an unknowing, evanescent portal torn between the fabric of realities. The terrible, jagged maw of the creature opened. It was Edgar who refused this end. And once again, the fighter threw himself into the fray. It is into this graveyard of teeth and flesh that Edgar thrust himself, his blood-stained glaive leading his way as he disappeared down the cavernous gullet of the beast. A silent prayer was torn from Astra's trembling lips as she watched. But then, the creature's jaws swung shut violently, and the fury in its eyes was replaced with horror. The beast's wings struggled to shed its forward momentum, and it looked to be choking. You watched as a sudden burst of flame sprouted from between its teeth, and a sick cry howled from somewhere deep within it. Xanafia's cry for Edgar could barely be heard as the beast fell. As its falling body crossed the threshold of the tunnel, the beast's body was torn away piece by piece. There was no chance for Edgar to survive this destruction. In truth, it was the culmination of a prophecy received during a Scribery-induced vision that he would one day sacrifice himself for his friends. The time for mourning was short. The portal began to break down around you, and ahead, in the distance, a split appeared in your path. It was then that another presence was felt. However, this one was much different. A soothing green glow outlined the approaching split, and a woman's voice could be heard.
Disciples of Meilikki, the goddess of the forest, hear my voice. Saving you from this path comes at great cost to me, but the forces of Pandemonium have already begun their assault here. Time is short. Find an elf who goes by the name Jones. He will lead you to my throne. Do not let your friend's sacrifice be in vain. We can still turn the tide. Hurry.
A sudden, violent force shoved each of you at the last possible moment into the branching green corridor. The sound of howling winds grew quieter then, and was replaced with the sounds of rushing water. The dark faded into noonday brightness. You each felt the wet chill of water surround you, and it was like Raytheon's scream.
Waterfall!
You were falling then. Far below you, a lake rushed towards you.